You heard that in the old days it was said, You shall not commit adultery. Those who among you have heard me in other places know that I have spoken about that sin several times. Because, look, as far as I am concerned, it is a sin. Not for one person only, but for two or for three. I will make myself clear. An adulterer sins with regard to himself, he sins with regard to his accomplice, and sins causing the betrayed wife or husband to sin, they may in fact be led to despair or to commit a crime. That with regard to the accomplished sin. But I will say more. I say, not only the accomplished sin, but the desire to accomplish it is already a sin. What is adultery? It is to crave for him, who is not ours, or for her, who is not ours. One begins to sin by wishing, continues by seduction, completes it by persuasion, crowns it by the deed. How does one begin? Generally with an impure glance. And that is connected with what I said before. An impure eye sees what is concealed from a pure eye. And through the eye thirst enters the throat, hunger enters the body and fever the blood. A carnal thirst, hunger, fever. Delirium begins. If the person looked at is honest, the delirious looker-on is left alone on tenterhooks, or will denigrate in revenge. If also the person looked at is dishonest, he will reply to the look and the descent into sin begins. I therefore say to you, if a man looks at a woman lustfully, he has already committed adultery with her because his thought has accomplished the deed of his desire. If your right eye should cause you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to be without one eye than to be thrown into the infernal darkness forever. And if your right hand should cause you to sin, cut it off and throw it away, for it will do you less harm to lose one part of you than to have your whole body go to hell. It is true that it is written that deformed people cannot serve God in the temple. But after this life, the deformed by birth who are holy and those who are deformed out of virtue, will become more beautiful than angels and will serve God, loving him in the happiness of heaven. 18 It has also been said to you, anyone who divorces his wife, must give her a writ of dismissal. But that is to be condemned, for it does not come from God. God said to Adam, This is the helpmate I made for you. Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth and conquer it. And Adam, full of superior intelligence, because sin had not yet dimmed his reason made perfect by God, exclaimed, This at last is bone from my bones, and flesh from my flesh. This is to be called woman, that is, another eye, because this was taken from man. This is why a man leaves his father and mother and joins himself to his wife and the two become one body. And in an increased splendor of light the eternal light approved smiling Adam's word, which became the first indelible law. Now, if owing to the ever increasing hardness of man, the human lawgiver had to give a new law, if owing to the ever increasing inconstancy of man, the lawgiver had to put a restraint and say, if you have dismissed her you cannot take her back, that does not cancel the first genuine law, passed in the earthly paradise and approved by God. I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, except for the case of fornication, exposes her to adultery. Because what will the divorced woman do in 90% of the cases? She will get married again. With what consequences? Oh! How much there is to be said about that. Do you not know that you can cause involuntary incests by such system? How many tears are shed because of lust? Yes, lust. There is no other name for it. Be frank. Everything can be overcome when the spirit is righteous. But everything is an excuse to satisfy sensuality when the spirit is lustful. Woman's frigidity, dullness, ineptitude for housework, Shrewish tongue, love for luxury, everything can be overcome, also diseases and irascibility, if one loves holily. But as after some time one does not love as on the first day, what is more than possible is considered impossible, and a poor woman is thrown onto the road and to perdition. He who rejects her commits adultery. He who marries her after the divorce, commits adultery. Death only dissolves a marriage. Remember that. And if your choice is an unhappy one, bear the consequences as a cross, being both of you unhappy but holy, without making also the children unhappy, as they are innocent and suffer more because of such unfortunate situations. The love for your children should cause you to ponder 100 times, also in the case of death of your partner. Oh, I wish you could be satisfied with what you already have had, and to which God said, enough. I wish you, widows and widowers, realized that death is not an attenuation but an elevation to the perfections of parents. To be a mother in the place of a dead mother. To be a father in the place of a deceased father. To be two souls in one and receive the love for the children from the cold lips of the dying partner and say, go in peace, without worrying. For those who were born of you, I will continue to love them, on my own and on your behalf, I will love them twice and will be their father and mother, and they will not suffer the unhappiness of orphans, neither will they feel the inborn jealousy that the children of a remarried consort experience with regard to him or her who takes the sacred place of mother or father called by God to a new abode. 19 My children, my sermon is drawing to its end, as the day is nearing its end, while the sun is setting in the west. I want you to remember the words of this meeting on the mountain. Engrave them in your hearts. Read them over and over again and very often. Let them be your everlasting guidance. And above all be good to those who are weak. Do not judge that you may not be judged. Remember that the moment might come when God could remind you, that is, how you judged. So you knew that that was bad. You therefore committed a sin, knowing what you were doing. You must now pay for it. Charity is an absolution. Be charitable to everybody and in everything. If God gives you much assistance to keep you good, do not be proud of it. But endeavor to climb the full length of the ladder of perfection and give a hand to those who are tired or unaware and to those who are easily disappointed. Why do you observe so diligently the splinter in your brother's eye if first you do not go to the trouble of taking the plank out of your own eye? How dare you say to your brother, let me take the splinter out of your eye while the plank in your eye is blinding you? Son, do not be a hypocrite. Take the plank out of your own eye first, and then you will be able to take the splinter out of your brother's eye, without ruining him. As you avoid being uncharitable, avoid also being imprudent. I said to you, give a hand to those who are tired or unaware and to those who are easily disappointed. But if it is charity to teach the ignorant, to encourage the tired, to give new wings to those whose old ones are broken, it is imprudence to reveal the eternal truths to those affected by Satanism, who take possession of them, to pretend they are prophets, to insinuate themselves among simple people, to corrupt, lead astray and sacrilegiously foul the things of God. Absolute respect, to be able to speak, to be silent, to ponder, to act, are the virtues of the true disciple in order to make proselytes and serve God. You are gifted with the faculty of reason, and, if you are just, God will grant you all the light to make a better use of your reason. You must consider that the eternal truths are like pearls, and no one has ever seen pearls thrown in front of pigs, which prefer acorns and rank broth to precious pearls, which they could crush under their feet. And then, furious at being mocked at, they would turn against you to tear you to Pieces.do not give dogs what is holy. That is for the present and the future. I have told you much, my children. Listen to my words. He who listens to them and puts them into practice can be compared to a thoughtful man, who wishing to build a house, chose a rocky place. He certainly worked hard to lay the foundations. He had to work with pick and stone chisel, he got callous hands and broke his back. But he was able to put lime in the fissures of the rock and lay bricks one close to the other, like the wall of a fortress, and the house was as solid as a mountain. The house was exposed to the inclemency of the weather and to downpours. The rain caused the rivers to overflow their banks, the winds whistled, the waves beat it, but the house resisted everything. Such is he who has a sound faith. Instead, who listens superficially and does not strive to engrave my words in his heart, because he is aware that to do so he would have to work hard, suffer and extirpate too many things, is like a man who out of indolence and foolishness builds his house on sand. As soon as the inclement weather comes, the house quickly built, quickly collapses, and the forlorn fool contemplates the rubble of the house and the ruin of his capital. And in that case, the ruin can be repaired with expenses and work. But if the edifice of the Spirit crashes, because it was badly built, there is no way to rebuild it. One cannot build in future life. Woe to those who present themselves there with rubble. 20 I have finished. I am now going down towards the lake, and I bless you in the name of the one and trine God. May peace be with you.